RISE. When you are on your Moxiworks platform, and right now, this is what your platform would look like. Let me switch to me. Okay, well, that is me. I was updating a picture. That helps. My Moxie. So technically, most everybody on this call should know how to get to this landing page. One of the biggest things I've been telling agents in my brokerage right now is if you already got leads going into Engage and don't want to get into Impress right now, go into Engage and update all your leads. Make sure that you have their name, first name, last name. You make sure you have their email, their mailing address correct, city and zip code especially. Because in Rise, you could tell it, I need campaigns based on a city, or I need campaigns based, market stats, excuse me, based on a city or a zip code. Okay. And then second of all, to make sure that we got the right email address and phone number. Super, super important. And this is a great time. Like I tell my agents, look, this is the perfect time while some of you are slowing down because of family holidays. It's like start updating your database, getting it ready for 2026. We are going into RISE. So I'm going to do an overview on RISE so you guys can understand what it is all about. It usually will always land on campaigns, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to the top tab on the left-hand side first. It's called images. Super important. The reason why is because whenever you upload images, like this particular image that I uploaded, or just a screenshot I have, I'm working on a broker's website. When I uploaded this image, it knew the file name. So what Moxie does is, hey, if that's your file name, that's what I'm going to do, give it as a display name. You can come in here and change the name of the display. Whatever this lake is, image of a website screenshot. Because that's basically what it is. Okay, so this is where you can change the name of the display. It adds a description because eventually all of these images are going to get indexed in Google or AI search or everywhere else. So it's a nice description of a photo. But one of the cool things I need you to see is these tags down here. These tags, it automatically picked up. This AI picked up this picture and said, okay, well, there's a tree in there, there's grass, there's nature, there's outdoor, there's a park, it looks like a summer, scenery, sky, vegetation, and a bench and lake. So the tags are relevant to this picture. I can go in and says, well, there's also a sunset. Enter. So, I didn't type it right. Let me retype it. Sunset. Boom. So now you got all the tags. One of the reasons this is super important, and I'm going to save, is after a while, you're going to have a ton of images that you kept adding as you're doing different types of marketing. Well, when you search, you can search by tag. So I can put in park. It'll show me every picture that I had a tag called park. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody because it's easier to filter your images because after a while you're going to upload images because you're doing different campaigns. Like, where is that photo? Can't find that photo. Or I'm looking for a picture of a house or C21 because you tag C21 logos and you just put C21. So when you put C21, it'll all filter up and show you all the images instead of having to scroll and keep scrolling and scrolling. Whenever you're looking at any picture, you also have the option, if I hit this X out, go back to here, this little three dots, more option, what it's all going to do is take you back to edit. So you can update these tags, update a description, and then basically hit save. Just simple as that, all it is. Like this picture right here, there it is. I can add a tag, C21, and I could add Century 21. And then this way, when I'm going through all my library and I need a Century 21 logo, this picture will also show up. And maybe I need that somewhere. Maybe eventually this will get integrated. This type of stuff will get integrated into Moxie website. We don't know. If it does, it's great because now I can just find any image I want to use for a page. Okay, tags, super important. And then you just hit save. Next image down is email. We're going to skip that a second in campaigns. We're going to go to contacts. What's going to do is we should be syncing all your contacts from Moxie Engage over into here. And so you have two options. You can update your contacts in Engage or start going in here or having your agent says, hey, just go in there and make sure you have the address. So basically they're going to open up any contact and says, okay, Bob Patel, I got his email, got his phone number. I'm going to scroll down, got his address. Of course, I was making this up so I can play with the system. Got his zip code in here, got his city, great. course, United States. So you're just going to put that in there. We're going to put all of that US. And sometimes it just does not work the way I want, but we'll skip that one. So I got this zip code, and I got this city. Two important things, got the email, and I got the phone number. Then if you notice on the left, it has a classification. Typically, most leads are gonna be, they're not gonna be checked either way, seller or buyer. And typically, this one will not have anything filled in. It'll be blank at the moment. So what you do is you have your agent says, okay, start calling your leads and find out, hey, are they gonna be a buyer or seller? Once you figure out they're gonna be a buyer or seller, need to figure out where do they fall. Are they just a lead? Are they going to be a lead that potentially will pan out down the line? If it's me, if they're not going to pan out and I don't want to just keep them in my portal, I'll hit the delete button and get rid of them. Okay. If they're a lead, then what you do is you want to put them in your system set. This is the lead, potentially a year out. They're a lead. I don't know what to do with them yet, but they're looking to potentially buy. Okay, great. And I'm going to show you where this makes sense. The way I see it, hot leads are 90 days out. I mean, they're ready to buy. Warm leads are about 6 months out. That's the way I see it. Nurture, they're about a year out. They're like, hey, you know what? We might be ready next year. Like, okay, you know what? I'm going to put you in nurture state. So I'm just basically going to babysit you. And then, of course, they're just a lead, but I haven't figured out where they fit yet. If it was me, and I've been in marketing all my life, a person that isn't lead, they would either fall into wherever they go. They would either fall into one of these categories within 24 to 48 hours, or I would delete them. If they're not going to fall into a lead, then if they're not going to fall into a hot, warm, and nurture, get rid of them because guess what? You may be spinning your wheels on a lead that's not going to do anything, and you're wasting your time and potentially not reaching out to the ones that are. This is where you figure this out. Then you go to timeline and hit save. Yes, it's going to show you if anything's been happening to that lead. Have you been sending any communications? It's a good way to just kind of like, okay, there it is. There's a Monday, December, and then there's campaigns that went out here. If there's any listing integrations, it'll show here. It's not live yet, but it's coming. So it's going to show that, hey, this particular person is tied to a listing or a deal. Okay, and then says, hey, what kind of communications do you want to keep up to date? Well, we're going to include marketing, market insights, and listing announcements. So that is what the subscription we currently have for this particular person. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. If you have any questions, please put them in Zoom so I can see what's going on. And if you have any questions, because for some reason I can't see the chat there.
Uh, there is a question, Bob,
Yes.
and it is relevant to the campaigns. They said, "What happens to the contacts that unsubscribe and engage?" And I replied back, "They're still in your engage. They're just not receiving your uh, your emails. You might want to follow up with those because you will get a notification that they've
Unsubscribe.
unsubscribed, and then maybe ask them if you can modify their search or if they can you can help them
Right.
in either way."
So if we go to back to contacts, see, it says this particular person, Benjamin Hansen, he unsubscribed. So if he unsubscribed, I have two options. I can leave him in there for now or decide that I need to remove him eventually. Hit this delete button and it's going to ask you, please type in delete to verify. And I'm going to remove him out of Engage. So at the end of the day, if the leads don't fall in anywhere or they're unsubscribing, there's a reason they probably don't want to be bothered. If it was me, I would get rid of them or just leave them in there. Says, hey, I'm just going to leave them in there. I'm not going to pay attention to them because they've already unsubscribed. It's up to the agent how much. I would rather have those leads that I know that are at least up to a year, somewhere along the line, they're going to be money and work with those. But that's going to be up to you to decide how. So let me go back to me. So this is where you figure out your timelines, interactions, and communications will go here. So it's pretty simple. If you don't have agents using this platform, have them go in here and says, hey, look, one by one, open up every lead, call them. Hey, Bob, how you doing today? This is Bob with Century Trading. It's been a while. Just want to wish you a happy Christmas and a Happy New Year. If hope everything's great. If there's any real estate needs you have, etc., blah blah blah. You guys know the speech. But just let them know. And then you update this to see, okay, well, they're not looking to buy yet or contract or whatever. This is where you put this information in. Why this classification and why this workflow is so important to me, if I was selling real estate, is this section right here on the left, right underneath contact. It says workflow. If you notice this person, me, I put in as a seller and I tagged him, let's say lead. And he's in 93257, 3257, which is Exeter. No, 93221, 3221. Okay, so I'm updating inside location here, and here's a lead. So if I go to workflow, you will see Bob Patel on a lead, and yes, and Bob Patel. Oh, I didn't update him. Let me go back in here as a lead and save. If I go to workflow, Bob Patel just showed up in workflow. So once you adjust a person, whether they're buyer or seller, and whether they're lead, warm, nurture, hot, in contract, etc., it'll show up here. Super important. I can take Bob and says, you know what? He's going to have to move to nurture now because he said, I might be ready by summer. If I went back and opened Bob, it shows as a seller, but if I look at the contact details, it automatically switched him to nurture. If I move him to warm, and save because I know he's going to be warm. He's 6 months out. Go back to here. Bob automatically moved here. So whenever you move one of those two stages, it automatically shows in the workflow.
I, there's a couple questions that came in
Yeah,
here.
I saw that by Krista. I'm not sure how that's going to work. Could not tell you. But I will do the best that I can with what we know. And main thing is I want everybody to see like, hey, this is what's coming. At least if the agents don't at least get a basic idea of what I can do when the full version rolls out, you're way ahead of the game, especially creating the emails. What if they are just a contact and want to get more information? Just don't put them as a buyer or seller. Just leave them in there as a lead and just don't put them as a buyer or seller. I mean, this is basically just for your reference. And if you're a buyer closer, do you change them to seller, leave them as buyer? Couldn't tell you, Andy. Um, you guys are way ahead of me. I'm just trying to show you how to use the system. That is going to
Yeah,
be
you
something you're
you
going
might
to do.
just tag them as general buyers or general, I mean, like, inquiries or something like that, and
Exactly. But
keep that as a tag.
what we're doing today is a training on this portion. You guys know as much as I do, most people have not even logged in or took a chance to look at this. And when it rolls out, they're gonna be coming in. How do I do this? How come this can't happen? Why is this? And that's one of the reasons me here and Mitch have been doing this for our office quite often, is to let our agents like, hey, when this thing comes out, do not just knock on my door and say, can you show me? Because it is not going to happen. I am not going to show nobody, especially in
Yeah.
my office. I'm going to send them a training video that I already did and says, watch the video, then come see me because they're not taking the time ahead of time. So this is important because what happens with the stage workflow, it lets you see I got closings, I'm in contract, I got how many people do you have in here? I have two people that are hot, potentially closing in 90 days, or I have two warm people that are going to be out 3 to 6 months out. So that means I need to work my pipeline. I need to go through all my leads and figure out if any of them fit in here. If they don't, get rid of them because even if they're a year or two out, you're like, why am I going to keep them in my database? They're not even relevant, or they're just looking for information and not potentially not going to buy. But I liked this part over the existing engage because
Oh, heck
this
yeah.
is all money. Future and current dollars that are potentially going to happen based on your nurture, warm, hot. And then as soon, especially when you go into contract, you're like, okay, this is definitely money. And this is post close. What are you going to do with them after? Okay. So this is what this section will do. And then you also have a task section, the next tab. I can create a tag for whoever I want, say Bob Patel, and we're going to use this one. He's a seller. He's currently warm. That's fine. But you know what? He just went hot. I need to call him the day after Christmas on the 26th. And we talked about calling him around 11 and type the discussion here. You put in whatever notes you have to do there, and then you basically save. So now I got a to-do showing up here that in one spot I can like, okay, I've already completed all my tasks. I got this one on hold because he decided that, hey, can you call me after the New Year's? Okay, so great. He was originally in a to-do, but he says, can you call me later? I got too much things going on. So what I did is I admit I'm using him. So I moved him into hold because he's on hold. But I got a date, January 1, 4 p.m. So I know that I got to call him at that time. Once you figure out what you're gonna do, it has to either get completed or move into hold because maybe there's a reason I can't do it right now. If you've already called Bob and done it, he should go under completed. If for some reason on hold, it's because you open it up and says called and left voicemail.
Yeah, there was a question about the to-dos. If they show up in the calendar. Originally, they were showing up in the calendar, and I recently noticed that they're not showing up. So they
No.
might be doing some fine-tuning right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this whole system's not 100% out, but
Yeah.
whatever is here, but most things are getting added to it. So now you know that, hey, Bob, I got a hold for December 26th with Bob and Mitz. I got a hold, but I don't have anything to do at the moment, so I got to wait for those two dates. But if an agent is logging into Moxie the way you're supposed to daily, it wouldn't have to worry about a calendar because I can just go right here and tell, I could see everything I either have to do or whatever I have on hold. And then plus I can see right here what do I have going in my pipeline, and if I don't, then I need to get on it and potentially contact more leads to figure out if I can put them into nurture or warm or hot. So that's what these two, and then of course settings, it says your profiles are integrated with Moxiworks edit there, basically in Dash. So those of you that have your bios and etc., you already know that your information has to be updated in Dash. Your social media accounts have to be updated in Dash. So basically everything syncs over to your website section you present, and then it will sync over into here. So make sure you do that. There is an integration at the moment in there to connect your Facebook, which I did. Doesn't have the ability to post to it. It's okay, but it's there just to let you know. There may be more coming. We don't know yet. Notifications under settings, yes, send me campaign reports. Choose to receive alerts via email on how the campaigns are doing. You're like, yes, I want that on because I want to see what's happening with my campaigns. So this is what's available currently under settings. We already talked about workflow and task. And the main thing is just getting you used to going in and looking and getting your agents to go in and start working on the database. Contacts, we already went over it. This is your contacts. You just open them. Now, what they did is in here, you have smart groups and then you have tags. Tags are similar to when you would put in groups. See, I have a custom group, C21JL, and these are the three people in it. Smart groups is a little bit different, and I haven't figured out exactly how to use this, so do not ask me at the moment. And I think if I'm not mistaken, is no, yeah, I do know. I can create a group and says, hey, if a filter matches one of these, let's say um, workflow stage matches warm, apply a filter. Not sure what that filter is, but if you set up a campaign that says, if I create a campaign that matches the task work stage for warm, this will automatically add this person. So basically what I'm doing is if I add a new lead that their city matches Visalia, then when I create a campaign based on a city this person will automatically be added to that campaign. Does that hopefully make sense?
No, totally makes sense.
Okay,
That
so
opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
yes, so basically you have a campaign running for, let's say, Visalia, because that's your primary bread and butter town, and you have a campaign going, and you add a new lead, and they match that filter. This person will get added to that trip campaign automatically. That's why it's called a smart group. It will automatically know everybody that you add that's Visalia, put them on this campaign automatically. Tags is like your groups, FISBO, first time home buyer, etc. are your tags. I got tags for just rented, renters, so I can filter. So the tags are more designed to like, let me filter all my friends, filter my coworkers, filter law enforcement, filter veterans, seniors, all of that. And you create tags and you add tags because somebody could be part of more than one tag. That's where you put the tags in under a person here because Bob is with C21 Jordan Link. He's also a buyer, and I can add tags. He's also, let's say, military, and you add tags. So when you're searching for anybody that's military under your contacts, Bob will show up, and everybody else that you tag military will show up. So you can organize your league. Basically, how we used to create groups. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Now, if we go to underneath media back to emails, excuse me, this is what your emails will look like here. So I had already created one, but we're going to go to new. This, and it says, hey, do you want an admin? I'm going to choose the middle one because I don't understand why the admin one came in. Have no idea yet because they look the same as the other one. And the generic Canva, haven't figured out how that's going to fall into place. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just use the Century 21 base. Can we add people to multiple smart groups? Absolutely. You create smart groups based on smart. Is it based on zip code? Is it based on city? You don't add the people, you add the people to a group. Is it based on uh, address, town? And then they get smart, they get added to that. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, we're going to go to base template here and go next. And I'm going to say, I'm going to call this a test campaign for 12/22/2025 so I can delete it later. And I'm going to hit done. Now, let me go back here real quick. Go back to here, back to here. This one, let me rephrase. This is super important. So let's say you're creating a special campaign for sale by owner. For sale by owner. I can do number, or I can put one for sale by owner one. So I'm going to create an email for sale by owner one. Then eventually I'm going to create an email number two for sale by owner two, three, four, and five. Let's say you wanted to have 5 emails for sale by owner, and you want the first one to go out tomorrow at noon, and I'm going to show you how it works. The second one to go out 3 days later, the fourth one to go out, the third one to go out a week later. So what you do is you pre-write all the emails, pre-work them. It says, okay, I got my 5 emails. Every time I get a FISBO, I'm putting them on that campaign. I'm going to set it up because I don't have to rewrite the content, and I'm going to send it out to them. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is for you to organize your pre-built emails, not in general. When you go next, you're going to give it an email name also for reference here. So you're going to say, okay, for sale by owner one. Done. Okay. This is where you put in the subject that the client sees in the subject line. And this is where you decide, is it a listing announcement, market insight, if it's marketing? Well, we're going to call it marketing. So this is whatever campaign, however you want to title your first subject line. If you guys look in the chat, where is my chat? I keep losing my.
I can copy it on there, Bob.
Okay. Chat. I did put in um, did you put it in there already?
I got it.
Paste it back in it. There you go.
Yep.
So the link that Mitch just put is basically what I called it the Century 21 campaign strategist, basically. And what that is this, and this will make sense on the screen that I'm doing is Century 21 strategies. Where are you? Not loading right. Come on.
It's been slow today. I've been on GPT and it's been very slow.
Okay, so this is the chat GPT that Mitch had put a link. Feel free to download it. So I can come in. This is just preset. You could tell it whatever you want. But let's say we're looking at a Fizbo. Build a Fizbo campaign. So I'm going to click it. So what it's going to do is it's going to go through and says, okay, before I create this campaign for you, give me your information right here. So I am going to go in and really simple. And the main thing with this is just got to play with this stuff. If you haven't, Bob Patel, my license number, I'm just making it up, of course. 8, at Century 21, the Jordan link, the address. This is what you will do for your location. Dale Avenue, Visalia, California, 93277. My email, manager@gmail.com, Gmail, and my phone number. 101 and hit enter. So I'm giving it the pertinent data. So it's perfect. So below is an email style campaign. It's giving you a rough idea. So basically what it's saying, according to this AI, this is designed to convert sellers into listing appointments through trust building and low pressure education. Key, because we're not trying to pressure them, but like, hey, did you know? So target is homeowners currently selling for sale by owner in the Visalia area. Perfect. Tone, respectful, choice on their own, of their choice to sell on their own. Helpful, not salesy, content. Resource first, agent second. What we want to do is we want to educate the client. So if they do get into trouble, I'm going to be the one they call instead of me trying to be a salesperson. No, hey, did you know? Okay. Remember that. And you want to be sounding as a local expert. Super, super important. What AI says, hey, recommended day 1 should be email 1, day 3, day 6, day 10, day 14. This is the structure. So what it did is wrote out email 1, permission-based introduction, no pitch. Hi, this is where we're going to put in the code. I'm going to show you how this works. I notice you're selling your home. And first of all, I respect that. And a lot of homeowners choose for sale by owner because they want control flexibility. I'm a local central agent in Visalia, and I work with for sale by owner sellers and traditional listings. Okay, so and then it gives you all this information. So it's not a pitch, no pitch, just offering help if you want it. Super important, like, okay, because everybody else is probably contacting them. Hey, do you want me to sell your home? Etc. So this is not a salesy pitch. It's second. And the second one is, hey, we're going to provide value education. And then the third one's going to be, we're going to provide some insights and brand advantage. And the fourth one is we're going to try to convince them, showing them that if they go with us, they're going to reduce their risk and a soft conversion. So what you do is, let's say you like this. You take this first part and says, okay, let me copy this part because I don't need up to here. I don't need the address. So I am going to copy that information into here, and I'm going to click in this little box. And all I'm going to do is remove this, paste this content in here. Okay. Now I'm starting off with the first email. If you notice, it says first, and it's got these brackets. I'm going to remove them. Then add a little space, hi, and I want the client's first name to automatic, no matter who I send this to, the client's first name or first and last name. So if you notice on the right, it says placeholder. This is the contact. Barely can see it. I'm going to see client first name. Anything in that blue color, or I can hit first name space, last name. Hi, Bob Patel. It'll automatically put in the client's first and last name. We got to make sure that on our database, we have our clients and clients' first and last name. It'll automatically fill it in. And so these are short codes you can place anywhere in here, address, cell phone number, greeting, display name, that'll automatically fill based on the data that's on the contact. Then down below, if you notice, it has short codes for company, label address, custom field, never mind, house anniversary, birthday, etc. Then it has user, which is me. So if you notice down below, it's in a pinkish color, first name, last name. That comes from user, which is me. My first name, my last name. If I want my email address to show, I click here, make a space after phone number, and I come in and says, okay, user, email. It'll automatically fill in my email address. And let me get rid of this one. And it says visit website. So I'm going to remove that. And I am going to add a placeholder to say, where is website? It'll automatically fill in my website exactly, or I can just type it in because it's not going to change. So these are short codes in that color for agents, so which is cool because once you create this email, you never have to put the client's first or last name in because it's going to automatically fill it. Phenomenal, okay? Phenomenal. Now, what it can also do, yes, Fernando, what it can also do is if we go back to this, I can decide that I want to choose FISBO, bold it, italic, underline it. I can stretch it. I can add bullet points and numbers. I can add a link. So a local Century 21 agent, I could take that. I can link it and says link it to my website. Let's say my website. Continue. Now I just created a link. So when they click on that, they're going to go to my personal website. So your email is getting very interactive. Okay, and then you could decide that if I highlight this, can I link it to the search results for all the properties in Visalia? Yes, you can. You just got to go to your website, go to property search, Visalia, California. You get all these properties, copy the entire URL, highlight the city, click, and paste the link in here. So you're making this a little bit interactive, okay? And then this is where you format, hey, do you want a header, title, etc. Now, the other thing is, this smart copy on the top left, if I was like, this part does not look right. I can go to smart copy and says, okay, can you take that information and make it friendly and generate? It'll take it and make it a little bit more friendlier. And if I like it, I hit done. It'll drop in here and use smart copy. You can also go in and highlight it and say, you know what? I like smart copy, but I want it to be casual, but I want to expand it, make it a little bit longer. You can hit generate and it's going to expand it. Of course, you're going to hit done. And then, okay, you're going to go through here and make sure that it sounds exactly the way it wants. Because once you write this email, you're like, I don't want to rewrite it every time I have a FISBO client. I need it exactly the way I want it. And then this way, I'm not rewriting it over and over and over. So you have this set. So this is where all of these little things come in. So let's say we got the content. This is how we want. Now, if you look on the right, header column, this is the one column row right here. I can drag a two column here, and now I can put text in the left or the right. Same difference. It's actually pretty cool. It's way easier than the Engage Builder. Then, so one, two, three column. Really simple to do. Then you have images, one image, two, three, and four. You can decide I want to add two pictures. You just drag it. Where do you want the picture? I want it here. Okay. Then you click on the photo icon and it's going to open up your photo library. Now remember, you can filter by lake and I can filter all the images that I had tagged lake. Okay, so we're just going to, for training, we're just going to use this logo. And I'm just going to use this one because they're consistent in size. But if you notice when I click on this picture, how fast it loads, I can come down to this one and it loads pretty darn fast compared to, boom, how it loads. So that's what this picture images does. It does, you select either single or I can click on this and say edit it and said, you know what, I just need a one column instead because I have an option to go from one to four columns. So you just go one column. So now I just went to one column. So that's what pictures does. Text and images is adding here, I drag it and says, hey, I want a picture on the left and verbiage on the right. If you go to edit, see, picture, image on the left, text on the right, image on the right, text on the left. If I do that, I'm flipping it, depending on how you want to write your content. And then the same thing with the picture. I want this picture. Boom, it drops it and you're going to add your verbiage. Simple as that. Just basically, even if you can get your agents to start learning how to put this together, it's really neat because then they get a little bit more efficient. They get a little bit more efficient. And then guess what? They'll be spitting out content and it's not hard to do. Okay, so we got images there, images to the left or right, or the one next to it. Basically, let me get rid of this, is 1 by 2. That one says image on top, content on the bottom. Or 2 by 2 means two images with content on the underneath. That's how that one works. Same principle when you edit these, how you're going to do it. One of the cool thing that is rolled out is property. And the new one is insight, which we're going to cover. Property says, hey, and if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me. As far as I know, an agent will be able to drag property and says, okay, I need a feature property. And it's going to drop like this. Ignore the open house. If this house has an open house, it'll automatically fill it. If it doesn't, it won't. What you do is you click on the far right-hand corner. There's a picture of a house in blue. And what it'll do is it'll open up properties and you're going to filter by residential, listing type, property type, and if it's current, etc. And then open up all of these different properties. If you notice, it's displaying 50 of 914 plus. That means they're not just my brokerage listings. These is everything in the MLS that I belong to. Okay, so if it stays the way it is, you'll be able to showcase every single property or any property in the MLS. But see, so let's say I'm going to just pick the first one. I'm going to pick this one. See, now it put it in here. That's what this is going to look like. If you notice, it loaded super, super fast. Options on here, if I click it, it says picture. On the photo, there's two options. There's a blue one that's like a camera. What it does, it allows you, and look how fast, it opens up all the images for that listing. Like, what is the best highlight of this house? Because maybe it has a pool, or maybe somebody says, hey, I'm looking for this freaking gourmet kitchen. Like, okay, well, let me showcase the kitchen if I'm going to send it to them, because that's super important to the wife. So I'm going to change a picture out to the kitchen. That's up to you, how you're going to change it. If I click on this again, if you notice there's a white button right next to it. What that does, it says, hey, do you want to showcase additional pictures? Yeah, you know what? I want to do a hero too. I'm going to select it. Now I can drop two other pictures underneath. So now I'm going to showcase the front of the house, and then I'm going to showcase maybe uh, the park. Boom. So now I'm showcasing three pictures and with all this information. What you can also do is if you look at edit, what information do you want to show? See, it says open house, but since this house is not listed as an open house, it doesn't show. But then you got the address, price, amenities, request to show, and headline description. You could decide to remove any of these or add any of these. And if it applies, it'll drop it. MLS ID, great. If you want to put that, add it, and then continue. Puts the MLS ID right at the bottom. It just added it. If you don't want that MLS ID there, because remember, you can edit these, you can move this up and decide where you want that MLS ID to show. And the MLS ID will show up on top. Okay, featured properties. Really cool to do. I'm going to delete this module because the other one that came out last week was a grid view. So let's go to grid view. Instead of a single property, you can say, hey, I want to showcase 4 properties to a client to showcase something. You go to each one and you click on the little picture icon on the bottom right, and then you start selecting properties that you want pertinent to whatever your buyer is looking for. I'm just randomly picking, so don't mind me. Just so you can understand, agents can understand how this thing works and how easy it loads. I'm just randomly going to pick 4 properties. That is how that will look when you send it to a customer. Pretty awesome compared to what you can do. Besides this, when you click in here, you have an edit option. You can say, you know what? That's how I have it. But if I scroll down, you can barely see it down here. I only want to showcase 2, but you can showcase up to 48. I wouldn't recommend 48. Please do not do 48. That's a lot. Okay, you may decide, you know what? I only want to showcase 2. Okay, then it's going to showcase two, and you pick the two properties you want, so it's not overbearing. The one in the middle is a list group. I can drag that wherever I want. I want it here. It's going to do the same thing for this one. Let's only do two in a list. Continue. And then click on the house icon, and I'm going to randomly just pick two. Pretend I've already done my homework. This is what the clients might be looking for. And I'm just randomly picking two. So now I got properties that I can showcase in a list view, in a grid view, and then I got my content that I want to write. So that is what properties will do right there. Now, new information that just came out over the weekend is my property insights disappeared and it became statistics. This used to be a button that used to show stats between active versus sold based on a zip code, and it would just show a bar graph over the last 6 months. Well, this panel has changed to this. Is the other one coming back? I have no idea. Okay, what statistics will do, I'm going to drag it here. It says, hey, you can do four. Well, you can actually do up to six different statistics. So you hit finish. Let's say you want to show major statistics. Where it comes in handy is if you notice this button in green or teal or whatever color that is, it says use data that is current at send time. If I uncheck it, whatever the data pulls now, and I use this email again in a week, it'll show the same data. Because I said keep it static. I don't want it to change. If you've already created an email and you have it saved, and you send it to a new customer 3 weeks later, this data will update at the time you send it 3 weeks from now. And so the data will be current. That's why this dynamic is super important. So you got six icons. Let me show you what your options are. If you click on the bottom right-hand corner, it says, hey, what data set do you want? Do you want average list? Do you want average sold? Medium list price? Medium sold price? List versus sold? New listings? Sold listings? Average days on the market. So let's go to average list price. And it says what market? I am working in Visalia, so I'm going to select Visalia, California, which is a place, not a postal city. It don't matter. I think they're the same as far as I can tell. No, don't know what the difference is, but we're just gonna pick place. I'm gonna select it. It's gonna be single family and condos, not a big deal. Hide the panel if there's no data. Okay, sounds good. And then we're gonna hit save. It's gonna drop the list price. Now, remember, we're working on Visalia, but nowhere on here, right here it says Visalia. So we're gonna hit this. We're gonna go, no, not there. What am I doing? Bottom corner. Gonna hit the bottom corner. We're gonna do sold price. Visalia, place, confirm. Dropped it down. But we're gonna do all of these real quick while we're in this training mode. Medium list price. Visalia, place, and sold price. Pretty phenomenal how the data is pretty
Very
efficiently
quick.
fast. New listings. Wow, let's showcase some new listings while we're at it. Place. And we're gonna showcase sold listings because I want that client to know that, man, look, this is what's happening, and I think you should know. This is the reason you should hire me. So here we go. So look at this. It already said city. There it is. City, city,
That's
city.
cool.
Okay. If I hit edit, one thing, now remember, the dynamic will send this data will be current when you send it. Because just because you send this email doesn't mean the email is gone. The email is in your email box. You can send it to somebody else that you want, which is the cool thing. That's why you have shortcodes. Because it'll automatically put in the new client's name. If you do it 6 months from now, it'll fill in the new client's first and last name because that's what you told it. Okay, or you can decide that you just want to verify. Maybe down at the bottom, you want to put in here, just want to verify address, and you put in the short codes for the address, and it'll automatically put the client's address in there, making sure that you put the address in your contacts. But on this This chart, you have to go, beside this, you have to go to edit and go to contacts and use location matching. Okay, super important. If you don't do that, it's not every, if you send this email out to 4 leads and they're in 4 different cities, they're all going to get the same data for Visalia.
Okay. That's important. Dang.
Very important. So when you create this, it says, hey, I need to match where they live. So the insight will change, just like the 2 emails I showed you when I did it. This one listed everything for Visalia, California. This one listed it for Porterville, California, because I chose location matching. So this part is super important. You got to turn that on. And for some reason, you didn't put the city for a lead. This part says if there's no address and I don't have a city, this is put in the default city and you decide what city you want as a default. I want Visalia as a default because I don't have a city. Maybe you couldn't get the city, which doesn't make sense if you have an address. But maybe you just want to send it out and like, hey, this is what I can do for you. Okay, so this is all this and this is all the other stuff you can do, but we're not going to get into that. So you save this. So it's going to show like this because it doesn't know which client you're sending it to. So if I was to send this data, which is this one, December 22nd training, I'm just going to put that. And let's say this email is completely done. And then of course down here, excuse me, I forgot. You can decide I want to add a logo and drag it. There it is, kind of small. If you notice right there, I can click on it, edit it, and says, you know what? Make you center. It's 200 pixels. So I'm going to make it 350. Continues, and I just made it bigger and added a logo. I can decide in between these two content right here, I want to add a line. There is just a little thin line. You can see it right there. I can decide that I want that thin line to be about 2 pixel thick and the line color to be the Century 21 gold. And now you just added a little thin line that way. Or the other one is you can says, I want to add this button here. You give it the title by edit. What's the title? Let's say, let's say this is a campaign for sellers or potential buyer. And then you're going to send them to, when they click on the link, it's going to send them to jordanlink.com, which is our company website. Hit continue. And now I got a button. They click on that in your email. It takes them to your website. And now they can to start searching for for property. This other one is a spacer, which if I get rid of this line, is a spacer. All it does is you tell it how much space you want, and it'll just basically put in a space. I can decide I want 100, and see, all it is a blank space. Some people may want a space without a line just to show some separation. That's what the spacer does. And then, of course, you got your social. All of these, if I decide I want to add this, let's say right under here, I just add it. Now my social media icons are all here. If I click this, hit edit, see the background color, black, which is fine. I can change it to gold or I can change it to whatever color I want here. See, that's just for that part. So I'm going to go back and put this back to normal, to black. Okay, if I go back to edit, if you notice links, these are blocked out. You can't edit these because they're feeding from Dash. Okay, feeding from Dash. You could undo it temporarily and says, okay, I need to change these URLs. But remember, that is only going to be for this email, not all of them. So if you want it for all of them, make sure it's in Dash, it's updated the way it's supposed to be, that it feeds here and it's updated so you never have to do this. But you can manually decide, you know what, I don't want the YouTube channel to show. But I do want to add my Vimeo. Vimeo wasn't in there last week. So you can notice how this is changing. So I can uncheck YouTube and hit done, and now YouTube's gone from this list. So you can only showcase the properties you have. Better to do it in Dash. That's what I what I would
Yeah.
suggest. Do you have anything, Mitz?
We do have a question from Raymond. He was wondering if there was the ability to showcase commercial properties from the MLS. I know in Zap they didn't allow it. You can on the website, but I'm not sure about this campaign, the featured campaigns.
Well, typically with MLS, you don't input commercial listings.
It could be.
I
Let me
mean,
keep.
most people that are doing commercial listings do it in Crexy or
Mhm.
one of those are commercial websites. You don't list a commercial, full-blown commercial property in an MLS. Not especially ours, we don't.
Well, Century 21 does have a commercial division. That's why I'm wondering
Right,
if
but they're not
maybe.
tied. No,
Yeah. Okay.
that's a total different animal altogether.
Okay, Raymond. That's to be further discussed.
Yes. At the moment, no. Okay, so this is how this currently goes. So basically, you create your emails. If you notice on the top right, you can say who it's going to, which is going to be me. But now there's a new thing that popped in here. Preview and send preview, which was always there. So preview, you can preview it and you can send it. So the cool thing is right now you can actually send it to yourself and this way you're learning, hey, how does this thing work and what's happening? And send a preview. So you can start building, your agents can start building emails. They can send it to themselves. They can see how it works. Like, okay, good, good. As soon as this thing goes full blown, I'm good to go. Now, I know we're going to be running out of time soon, but we're going to go over to campaigns here. Campaign says, hey, we're going to create a new campaign. We are going to do a custom because we're not doing a market inside, just listed holidays sold. We're just going to do a custom. Hit next. Says, okay, what do you want to do? So let's say you're doing the first time FISBOs. First, you start with a start time. I'm going to start and you drag it. I'm going to start. What's the date and time? On start. If I hit on start, that means the minute I hit start, that first email goes out. It's on start. Or it says, you know what? I need this thing to go out tomorrow at 10 a.m. So it says, then if you look at the module, what module? So I am, if you notice right now, you only have an option of send an email. So I drag email. What email? I'm going to drag, let's say the seller listing consultation one. Then it says, okay, is there anything else you want to do? Yes. So this one's done. Now it's saying add an interval. I want to send an email 3 days later. What email do you want to do? So let's say we put an email together for day 3. We select it. Maybe it's seller consultation number 2. Remember, you're using AI to create it. Let's just pretend I already rewrote the 3 emails or 4 emails. This is seller consultation 2. Just play with me. So that one will go out 3 days later. Then I need another interval. And 1 week later, I want another email to go out, and I already wrote that email, and that one's going to be seller consultation 3. And that's how you build it. Once you build it, you hit start. Once it starts, tomorrow morning, they'll get that first email at 10 a.m. And then after that, 3 days later, they'll get the second email, and a week later, they'll get the third. That's how simple it's actually put together. Now, if I go through and remove, and so back to campaigns and leave, create a new custom, and everything revolves around you getting the email put together. That's it. Last week, these other options weren't there. Subscription, contact event date, just listed, just sold.
Oh, that's awesome.
Subscription, it says, okay, what do you want to add? Well, maybe because I created an email, hey, can you please subscribe to a newsletter? Okay. Or get rid of that. Contact event date. What is it? Well, if it's a birthday, at 9 a.m. on the day of the event, on their birthday, send them this email. Does that make sense? So contact date based on an email. Like let's say, Mitch, your birthday's tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, you'll get this email. Let's say that one. Let's say it's a birthday one. I special wrote it. Okay, so that's what contact date is based on an email or a houseversary at 9 o'clock on the event day, on the day of their houseversary. Send once this email, and you pick the email that you want to send. So now you're automatically sending these out to your clients on their house versaries. If you notice, all contacts are already selected. All of them are selected. If I select all, every single one of them, if they have a houseversary date, 9 o'clock on their houseversary date, they will get this email. Does that make sense?
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
I
Houseversary, that's what that is. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's all about practicing. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Now, couldn't tell you on just listed, just sold. So I'm going to drag over just listed and says, okay, what is it? All listing types, single family, yep, single family home and multifamily.
Oh, they do have commercial.
Okay. What's that?
They do have commercial on there.
Yep, that don't mean you're going to get any listings.
That's true.
Okay. So let's just pretend we don't have commercials. Okay. Because every MLS is different. Our MLS doesn't feed commercial. So let's say we selected the just listing. If you notice, there's only an email option. An email, and maybe you just created an email that has a trigger point on a just listed. Make sense?
Yes.
Then this email will go out, and then you're going to add another email a week later as a follow-up email. And then so you're creating your campaign based on, hey, these are the triggers, do this. Main thing, and I can't emphasize even my agents enough, learn how to put an email together.
Um, Bob,
Yes.
eventually they're going to have that. Like, let's say you had the just listed sent out, an email goes out with your newest listing. I'm sure the next trigger point is once it goes into pending, another email will be triggered off, and you can have that kind of automation. That's just amazing to me. I think that's cool.
I wouldn't be surprised, but we're just going to focus on what we see
Yeah,
here.
I got you. I got
Like if there's a clicked on a link in an email, is it a tap change? Is it an email? If somebody viewed an email, can you send them this? So we're
hmm
focusing on this because I know how you are. You're gonna be like, ooh, and we're
Yeah,
not.
I know. That's me.
Yeah, exactly. So now campaigns are really easy. You just got to figure out how you want to lay them up. But at the end of the day, everything boils down to your emails. If we notice on the seller consultation 2 hours ago, while I was finished, I can look at the holiday one that I put in all my leads. I can click on options and view a report. This wasn't there last week also. So these are all of me playing around. But this I can view. It says, okay, holiday campaign for July. Nope, that's not what I want to see. I want to see the one that went out for Christmas, winter holiday season that just went out. So
Cool.
there's 95% went through, 5%. So out of 1,894, only 90 bounced. View rate, only 11% viewed my email. Man, so if there's 11% of you on this, thank you very much. Rest of you, read my emails. Okay, interaction rate, 5%. So look at the data it gives you. Top contacts, who are the top people opening your emails, and what are the top links that they're clicking on? A lot of data. View, based on the holiday campaign, the same one, who viewed how many times?
That's cool.
There's a lot of information, and a lot of people have no clue. Interactions, 13 people interacted. That means they clicked on a link, looked at it, see two links, 10 people clicked on their contacts. And then if there's any metrics, phenomenal. Look at that. 0.37 unsubscription rate. Okay, great. Nobody filed a complaint, thank God. But look on the devices used.
That's interesting.
Desktop, 92% over mobile at 8%.
That's bizarre.
Well,
I
because
would,
they're realtors, they're on their computer in the morning.
I just figured that'd be the up. Well, I don't know. That's just me. I thought
Uh,
more people would be on mobile. So,
on mobile, but ideally most agents, if these emails are going early in the morning, they're opening up the email, they're checking whatever they got to do. And they're gonna see this email on a mobile. Throughout the day, they're gonna go mobile. They didn't
yeah.
check the emails because usually you or me, when we get on our
Yeah,
computers in
we're up
the
early.
office, we're on our
Yeah.
PCs, on our Macs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But look at how much information we have now. And imagine when you send out campaigns, how much data you can actually see. What is Julie posting? Cannot edit a live campaign. You have to pause the campaign, Julie.
Yeah.
You can't edit it live. So if you have a campaign running, so let me show you.
And
Like this
that's a cool
holiday
feature.
campaign, it's running. I am going to pause it, confirm. So it stopped. So now the next campaign is going out, is going to be December 23rd. If you notice, here it is. I'm going to click and I'm going to preview or edit. So before this email goes out, I can come in here and says, okay, I need to update any content. I need to update anything else. I can say, you know what? Let me take this and smart copy, casual, generate. Okay, that sounds better. Perfect. So I can use AI copy to do it. Save it. Of course, you got a preview or you can share. If I do a quick send, remember we were talking about tags. When I tag people, I can put C2 on Jordan link, pick the tag, and it's going to send. If I hit this quickly create a campaign, hit send, it'll go to everybody that I tagged C2 on Jordan link.
Hmm,
Oh, gone.
cool.
And it's pretty efficiently fast. So this is how you do it. And then once you do this, you save this, go back to your emails, and we are going to go back to start this and start this campaign back.
Yeah, I
Pause
like.
it.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
No,
go
I
ahead.
like that feature because I'm a car guy, right? The engine's running, the wheel is spinning. You know it's active.
Which
So
is cool because now you can like, okay, you know what? Let me edit this campaign or let me just tweak it a little bit before the whatever I want, but I can edit them. All the rest of them, you can't do anything because they've already been sent out. So this is where how we would do it. You would just go through, pause it, do what you want, and hit save, and then there you go. But it is so neat, guys. Imagine, I mean, I know there's a lot of information we covered, but at the end of the day, me and Mitch have been trying to tell our agents hands down, get in there and start looking around and start learning how to build an email. Once you can build an email, just like everybody was hesitant on Moxie Present, now most of them that were complaining a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, now they can, on their own, they're creating Moxie presentations. This is the same way. Look at what you could do to create your emails. And if you use the shortcodes, you only create it once. You may have to update the content, but the main idea, you don't have to keep rewriting it. You just says, I want this tweet, and you already got the shortcut for the client's name. Everything else you can create and just hit send and send it out to somebody in a blink of an eye, which will make you efficient. This thing is the best thing that they ever did was create this workflow because your agents can look and says, hey, you have nothing in your pipeline. So if an agent's complaining about leads, and when's the last time you called those 2,000 people sitting in your contacts? Well, I haven't. Well, then why are you complaining you got nobody in your pipeline? That's what I would do if I was the owner. I mean, I honestly would. And Mitch knows that I would, and I actually do tell my agents that.
yeah.
At the end of the day, don't come to me looking for leads when you haven't even worked the leads you already have, potentially, because sphere of influence will give you the hugest return. And you know that as much as I do. So
Oh yes.
if anybody has any questions, please get a hold of me. Most of you already know how to get a hold of me, C21 Tech Manager at Gmail. You can also find me on the Century 21 Global Group. Just look for Bob Patel. Send me a message if you have any particular questions. I'd be happy to help you. And if there's nothing else for today, I am going to say you guys have an amazing Christmas. Hopefully this helps. If there's new updates after Christmas, we may do this training again on right after Christmas, the following Monday, just to keep me and Mitch busy. But if there's new features, why not? Let's just discover them together. Let's help everybody else grow together and everybody else learn. So everybody have a Merry Christmas. And like I said, if you need anything, give me a call anytime.
Before you sign off, Bob, I
Yes.
mean, like everybody that's on the call and everything, Bob shames me every day by updating us on Rise every day. I mean, there's something new that's come out. I don't know. There must have been about 5 or 6 things in just the last week, right?
Yep.
So, I
It is
mean, just
coming. So
yeah,
can't wait.
yeah. Give Bob a hand for keeping everybody up to date and to embarrass me every day.
Yeah,
So,
love it.
all
Bye, guys. Have a great
right. Merry
Christmas.
Christmas, everybody.